My name is Awais Malia and I was born in Somalia. In 1992, we came to the refugee camp of Kenya. So the challenges of the refugee camp of Kenya was discrimination. Our community was discriminated to get a job, was discriminated to get proper education. And this was something was happening with us even in Somalia. When we came to the U.S., we have seen a lot of problem. Even some of the members in the community feel like they want to go back. Our community, we didn't have any other Somali community ahead of us here, and if there was it was like 2 people, 5. So our community was just like the first Somali people to be settled here. And the challenges were very, very, even I will say that the resettlement agencies were not well prepared to receive our community. So the community went through a lot, and that's because of the language. Our community do not speak Somali, they speak dialects of, Kizigua and Mai Mai. Also the cultural conflict between the younger and also the adult at home, which the adult they need their children to stick up with their own culture and also practice that, and the younger generation, they really want to be, and adapt to their new culture. I think there is a lot of improvement now with the Immigrant and International and Advisory Council, the Mayor's Office welcoming Pittsburgh, and I think the city is improving, and now we are seeing much help. And although we are now and our association, the Somali Brand Community Association, is like solving a problem that was supposed to be solved at the beginning.
My name is Carolina Loyola Garcia and I am from Chile. I came to Pittsburgh 18 years ago in '97 to go to grad school at Carnegie Mellon University. I am now Associate Professor of Media Arts at Robert Morris University, where I've been for the past 11 years. I teach filmmaking. I am a filmmaker and performer and dancer. I think that whenever you migrate, the first challenge that you encounter is language. It's impossible to find good opportunities, to find employment, to be able to create a sense of community and belonging with the local communities, right? So that immediately presents a barrier that if you don't overcome that, you're going to be in isolation or being forced to just stay within your community of origin in this new place. I know there are some resources available now that weren't available when I moved here, like the Latino Family Center, which helps families with basic access to certain services, right? Medical services and logistical and information, right, about where to get things, where to go for certain services, right? And that's one challenge that you face when you move to a new place, right? Like, where do I go to the doctor? Where do I get certain things that I need for my house or to cook? Or, how do I access education for my children, right? What are the schools? How does the school system work here, right? And Casa San Jose also does quite a bit of, advocacy and work in that area, which those are things that are great, that are in place now. There are a couple other organizations like Café con Leche that is also doing a lot of advocacy and branding, of the Latin American community here in Pittsburgh.
My name is Fatima Jama. I am originally from Bahrain. I grew up there and I moved to the US in 2010 for school. I speak Arabic natively and English bilingually. I grew up speaking English since the age of 9, so I'm almost fluent at this point. And I never had an issue with the language, and I think that's something I mentioned to the groups I spoke with. I was always perceived to be an African American because I don't have as much of an accent or as strong of an accent, and because of just my perceived identity here. One of the biggest challenges that immigrant groups face in Pittsburgh, in my opinion, is not being able to find other people who have similar backgrounds or resources to help them assimilate to the city and hopefully stay. I haven't met a single person from my country. I have people from the Middle East that I've met and known. I have people who are Muslim that I identify with, but not necessarily someone from my direct culture. So I just reached out to ask them what resources are available for people who are Muslim or who are fasting in Ramadan, or what groups are there that practice or do events that are cultural and I identify with. So just being able to tap into those networks that already exist and ask the right questions led me to learn more about the Islamic Center of Pittsburgh, events at the schools, CMU and University Pitt, as well as institutes and organizations that do events that are not as widely advertised as you would think, or are not as accessible unless you're online specifically looking for those things. I moved to Pittsburgh in the middle of Ramadan, and it was very tough because I broke fast at 9 p.m. and it was hard to find places to eat that were walking distance and that I knew of, or if I knew it was safe to walk that late at night, especially the first few weeks. But being patient and being open to saying yes to people offering to spend time with you or go for coffee. This way you get to meet new people and learn about the resources available.
My name is Diwastim Sinha, and I came originally from country Bhutan, but I was born and raised in a refugee camp. Came to the United States in 2008. Originally resettled in Atlanta, Georgia. We stayed there for 3 years before moving to Pittsburgh. I'm also a founder and a president of a youth-based nonprofit organization who kind of deals with a lot of refugee and immigrant issues in the city of Pittsburgh and also around the United States. Main problems will be cultural barrier, language barrier. They could be a doctor, engineers, or they could be a PhD in their country, but whenever they get to US, all those degrees and advanced technology or experience that they have, it's just nothing or compared in the US. So they has to all start all over again. So that's kind of one of the issues that people are facing in my community. It's just a depression, because who could imagine that doctor being starting all over and going through entry-level job and coming to a country where everything is free and everybody has equal opportunity, just to see that my community is still struggling, and people are now kind of trying to make it more welcoming and trying to welcome more people. That way they can make more diverse, but people are forgetting that city of Pittsburgh is already diverse. There are thousands of local communities who has been living in the in the city of Pittsburgh for so many long time, and people are kind of doesn't even know their existence. For example, Bhutanese community, my community is one of the largest refugee and immigrant population in the city of Pittsburgh, which has more than 5,000 people, and most of the people doesn't know about their existence, about our existence. People kind of need to learn about our history, challenges, and why we came to US before just kind of judging or assuming that who you are by just looking at you.
My name is Ani Aleman, and I am from Nicaragua. I moved to Pittsburgh 9 years ago, and I am a Pittsburgh Public School graduate. I went to Pittsburgh Alderdice there, and I was part of the English as Second Language program, because in this side of the city is the only school that provides that for kids in high school that don't speak English. My journey in Pittsburgh has been very interesting. When I was in Nicaragua, I was only a Nicaraguan there, but when I moved to the U.S., I became part of a larger community, the Latino community living in the U.S. Here in Pittsburgh, we're only less than 3%, and so our presence here is, even though it's small, is growing. A lot of my classmates were undocumented, so I was the youth coordinator for Jóvenes Sin Nombres, a Latino youth group that was raising awareness about immigration issues here in Pittsburgh. We made a movie documentary about the stories of some of our Latino youth and their journeys, how difficult it has been to move to a new city, and also the challenges they face in terms of discrimination. One of the main issues and challenges I see in the city is moving past the awareness stage. So I think that the city is still stuck in that stage, let's raise awareness and tolerance of others, but how can we move from that and actually create a more sustainable path for for the immigrants that are living here and for the new ones that will come.
My name is Nevena Starsenik. I moved to Pittsburgh 8 years ago. Once you travel, once you go and live and share your life with other people from other cultures, you just cannot be only one and only yourself. Especially after all these wars and what we are hearing now, what's going on in the world. And not only now, even in my country 20 years ago, we had wars, Serbs against Croats and all that, and we are same people. So nothing, it never appealed to me that I have to be strongly national, that I have to be strongly nationalist in any way. Yes, tradition, yes, food, language, culture. My company did last year a survey among 120 expatriates in Pittsburgh, and their biggest challenge, that was one of the questions, was what was your biggest challenge? It was connecting to people. Mayor's initiative now, Welcoming Pittsburgh, then we have Vibrant Pittsburgh, we have Inclusion, and we have so many groups that are working on those issues, and that's great. But I'm interested, where is the action? What is actually happening? And I ask us to be personally responsible for that. I ask the students today to act, to do, because I don't want to come from the world, come to Pittsburgh in developed America, and then find my kids limited in any way culturally. I care that people do mix, I care that people do share, and then with that mindset we will have less problems in the world.